Welcome to our show, Get to Know Your Neighbor. I'm your host. Every week, I'm still Cameron Geisman with Geisman Homes. Each week, we interview local neighbors and businesses of Fishers, Indiana, and share their stories with you. Don't forget to click the like button. As my kids would say, click the like button, post an emoji, all those fun, weird things. And if you know somebody that you want us to interview, go ahead and shoot us a message as well, as we'd love to connect with them. Tonight, we are interviewing Brian Graham, owner of 4 Day Ray. Brian has been brewing beer for over 20 years. He's going to correct me. It's probably like 28 or something. And even won the Indiana Brewers Cup Best of Show at the Indiana State Fair in 2000 for his Belgian Wit beer, which I originally put Belgian wheat, but I kept saying wit. So we're going to ask him about that. Many of you may know of 4 Day Ray because of the big grain silo, or as I like to say, water tower, you see in downtown Fishers. But if you haven't been there, we highly recommend it. They have a brewery tap room where you can test different beers. They're currently rotating a selection of new and popular brews. It's a family-friendly restaurant that also features locally sourced foods and a wide menu selection and a beautiful dog-friendly patio. We take our little pup there quite a bit. This is actually one of our family's favorite restaurants. Adam gets to enjoy the exceptionally good beer. Our boys get to enjoy their awesome gluten-free burgers, and I absolutely love their ají and Cubano tacos. Brian has so generously offered a $50 FDR gift card to one lucky listener, so please make sure to listen throughout for the answer. So please welcome Brian Graham.
Thanks, Cameron. That was that was a great introduction. I appreciate it.
Oh,
thanks for having me.
Thank you for finally taking my phone call and agreeing to do this, because I've been I didn't have a connection. So I'm like, I want Brian, because you really are, like, I don't just say that, like, you really are our family's favorite restaurant. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I'm excited. Okay, so I'm going to tilt this a little bit. Well, here's the thing. I say that partially you're our favorite restaurant because really, truly, Adam gets to enjoy his beer. I can't drink beer, so I don't get to enjoy it, unfortunately. But I get to enjoy the awesome food and the atmosphere, the ambiance. It's just a cool place. So thank you for bringing it to Fishers.
Thank you. Yeah, our pleasure, for sure.
Okay, so we're going to kind of jump in and start with the first question, which is what made you want to open a restaurant in downtown Fishers? Because there wasn't really a whole lot.
Well, I wanted to open a brewery downtown Fishers, so let's just get that. We'll just set the record there. I had owned restaurants in the past, and the margins in beer a little bit better. So when I started planning in 2012, the idea was to open a brewery and not a restaurant. But as things transpired over the 4 years that we were planning, it really became very apparent that we were going to need a restaurant in the location where we were going to open, just because the city wanted some sort of flagship, just anchor kind of experience to help the area grow as they were building it out. And so just having a tap room with a little bit of food or some food trucks, that wasn't going to cut it. So I had already planned on having food at the brewery, and it was going to be kind of street food, a little bit of what we have right now. So, tacos was mainly going to be, what we were going to have on the menu. But as everything sort of came together and the project grew and got bigger, we needed a restaurant to be able to be a really good staple and be a part of the community the way that we wanted to do it. And so, we added the restaurant along with the brewery so that we could, have a full package there for everybody.
Is there a reason you picked Fishers versus other areas?
Yeah, definitely. So I actually live in Westfield. That's where I was going to originally open the brewery.
Westfield.
Yeah, well, it's okay. Well, and it's funny, all of my friends that live over here, they're like, when are you going to open your location over here? So, so Westfield originally, Westfield has the Monon Trail, they have the Midland Trail, they were part of the Underground Railroad. during the Civil War time. So 4-day Ray is actually railroad slang for a rail employee that habitually called off work 1 day a week. So 3-day weekends for everyone. And so when we decided to move the location to Fishers, the name still worked out because, we're right there by the Nickel Plate Railroad, or what'll soon be a trail itself. So it helped, it worked out, and, everybody loves 3-day weekends. So everything, worked out. So it all, it was fine. We didn't have to change the name, thankfully.
Do your employees always ask you, well, then we should only have to work 4 days because?
That question does come up often. A lot of our staff are servers. So I tell them, I'm like, hey, oftentimes I think a lot of you are only here, 4 days a week. So it's okay.
It's true. I served many, many years, and that is definitely true.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you came to Fishers.
Thank you.
I'm biased, and I think FDR, I mean, it makes sense in Fishers. I just don't think Westfield. Fishers is way better.
Right.
Okay, so who inspired you to open 4-day Ray then? Because you said it was a 4-year process?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
It was actually my wife. Yeah, so it was February like 26th, 2012 or something like that. I don't remember the exact date. But she, we were getting ready to start the week, and she's just like, yeah, you just need to open a brewery. And I was like, oh, okay, great. And so, I had the blessing there, and so I started planning and learning from my past experiences with the restaurants that I had opened. So I started planning in 2012, and then we opened in 2016.
That is amazing. And now I like her even more. She's the one that was like, yes, do this. Because not too many, I feel like you wouldn't get that from a lot of wives.
I was quite surprised myself. Yeah.
Okay, so So tell us kind of about that journey of like brewing. Wow. I just butchered that word. Brewing at home to then opening a brewery. Like, what did that look like?
Well, I mean, I knew, so home brewing and brewing professionally are two totally different things. And the scale is it's just different. Things that you do as a home brewer aren't necessarily scalable as, when you're professionally brewing, especially with the size of equipment that we have. I was brewing 15 gallons at a time at my home brew system. And then we brew 15 barrels at the brewery. So that's 15 gallons versus approximately, 450 gallons.
Oh.
So it's quite a bit bigger.
A little bit.
Yeah. And so, one of the things that I knew that I wanted to make sure that I did, I wanted to bring in a professional brewer who had experience and that was out from outside of the state. Because, what tends to happen in close-knit communities is people just sort of hop around from one place to another. And then, you kind of get the same beer and the way people brew at each spot, when people jump around. So I wanted to, bring in somebody that had been from out of state and, that hadn't been brewing in Indiana before.
Interesting.
So
So you're brewing at home and you're doing 15 gallons. Are any of your current beers, are they ones that you sell, like the ingredients or I know nothing about beer brewing.
It's very similar to cooking. You have a recipe that you follow. So that is, if you have a recipe for home brewing, you can scale that up and make it a recipe for commercial brewing. And sometimes you can't use all of the things that you're doing because it's not scalable. But so like Track Jumper, when we started out, that was my recipe. Let's see, the Blonde, that was my recipe. So yeah, we use some of my recipes, and then Mitch is a commercial brewer, so mean, a lot of the stuff is from his experience and his recipes too. So we collaborate, and I'm a beer judge, so we do a lot of collaboration as far as developing the recipes together.
What did you just say? You're a beer judge? I know
Beer
it.
judge.
Can Adam raise his hand and be a beer judge? What's a beer judge?
So there's a certification program that you go through. A lot of studying. It's a 4-hour exam, and you have to know kind of how to brew beer. You have to be able to taste it and pick out flaws and sort of it. For most people, it's not really that enjoyable unless you're really passionate about it, because it's not just you're not just tasting beer. You have to really like tear it. Just figure out if it is what it's supposed to be. So it's like 8 hours of just tasting beer and just think, well, does this match? Is it what it's supposed to be? So you really have to be passionate about it to enjoy it. So most people just enjoy drinking it. So yeah.
When you said beer judge, that is not the route that I was going. That might actually be more learning than to get your real estate license. That's amazing. Okay, so do you go to like events where you can judge beer then?
Yeah, so typically, but not necessarily in the time that we're in right now, there are competitions all across the United States. There are people that just do like circuits and they'll tour around the country and just judge, different competitions throughout the United States. But there are quite a few competitions around this area, and you just travel there, and like there's state fairs, and the Indiana State Fair is one of the largest state fair competitions in the country. So that's obviously right here in our backyard. Kentucky does one, Ohio, and then there's plenty of other competitions that are local.
That's amazing. We completely derailed. No
pun intended there.
No pun intended at all. Okay, so I mean, I know a little bit. I kind of play the dumb person of like, I don't know how to brew beer. I've brewed things that are like beer that are fermented, so I at least get the process. But can you kind of explain the process that you go through making a beer from kind of the idea? Because like Adam just drank the pumpkin pie, and like how do you come about that?
Yeah. So Mitch and I actually we have a very similar philosophy when we think about beer, and it's very much like cooking. So for pumpkin pie, that's a great example. So basically what we wanted is we wanted people to taste the different elements of the pie itself, right? So you have the filling, which is the spices. Then you have the crust, which is kind of, has the kind of a bready, kind of almost kind of caramel and nutty, a little bit. And then you have the whipped cream. We don't use lactose in ours, but we do use maltodextrin, which is a sugar that's not fermentable. So it kind of gives you a little bit of the sweetness, like that you would have similar to the whipped cream that would go on the pie. So that is how we construct that beer. And then basically we know what different ingredients are going to impart the flavors that we want in the beer, and when we put them together. So that's how we think about beer a lot of the times, is basically food, and then just kind of build the recipes from there.
Well, it sounds amazing. Can you make that gluten-free for me?
Well, no pressure. So yeah, so the amount of gluten-free beer that we would sell would just not be wouldn't be good for us from an economic standpoint.
Oh,
we do carry gluten-free beer that's very good though. It's called Durham. So if you and I think I'm not sure if it's gluten-free or if it's gluten reduced, but you might look it up. I think it's DURHAM.
Yeah.
I think it's how you spell it. But and then we carry cider too.
I do like ciders. I'll do that occasionally, but even before I was gluten-free, I never really drank beer all that much anyways. I don't know if it's because my system is new, but we definitely purchase enough because of my husband, and he was very thrilled to try the pumpkin pie when our neighbor got it and really likes it. So you got one. So do you can that, or is that only in keg?
Right now we just have it on draft. We just purchased our own canner. So we'll be starting that up here in the next couple weeks. So in the future, when we have, limited release beers like that, we'll be able to put some of them in a can. But we just haven't had that capacity right now because our canner that we use, the mobile canner, they have minimums. And so some of the beers we wouldn't, we wouldn't want to put that much into a can. So we've been limited on capacity as far as how much we have to can. So that limitation will be going away, and so we'll be able to can more varieties for sure.
Will you still use the same can? Because although I don't drink them, I hold them when I give them to people, and I love your cans. The matte and the design, like, very well done.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the matte finish, it's very tactile. It's pretty cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, we'll continue using those. That won't change. It's just going to be who's putting the liquid into the can.
Okay. So I think the big cans, right? I'm going completely off script here. So forgive me. I just have so many questions. So you have the big cans. I just see what comes into my house. This is the problem. And there's these big cans that have, is it written on the side or is it like?
Yeah, they're written.
Yeah. But you're filling those
right. That's right? a single, it's called a crowler with a C. Yep. And so those are single. Yeah, those are single fill. It's 32 ounces. So it's half of a growler.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, you can, if you don't want a whole growler or you forget your growler and you're trying to come in and pick up some draft beer, you can get that and take it out, and there's no, extra cost on it. It's just the can.
But will it last as long as a traditional can?
I would say no on that. It's, it's similar to a growler. It's probably going to keep a little bit longer than a growler would. But you're probably going to drink it in one sitting because it's only 32 ounces.
Yeah.
So yeah.
In his head. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Will you get into, this is just a random ass question. Will you get into bourbon making? Is it in the same, like, my husband loves bourbon. So like, is it? Put the beer in a bourbon barrel.
We put the beer in bourbon barrels. Yes. Right now. So the part of making alcohol or spirits, the mashing process is particularly for bourbon. That is the same process as mashing for beer. So that process is the same. It's because you're trying to get, you're adding the grain and you're trying to get the sugar out of it. Past that, it's not the same at all. So the distilling process and, that part of it, it's not the same. And then bourbon, you're aging that in wood. There's just, it's a different process altogether outside of the mashing. And we're trying to keep up right now with what we're doing, and we have extremely limited space. Yeah. So we don't have any plans at any time soon to do the distilling. But it's something that definitely interests us, and Mitch is interested in doing that for sure. But that's probably a few years away at this point.
Yeah. So you keep mentioning Mitch, so I should ask. So Mitch is the brewer. Is that what you call him?
Yeah, he's our head of brewing operations.
Okay.
So he doesn't like the term brewmaster because, there's a lot of years of tenure and accolades that go along with that, that title. But we have Mitch, and he's also one of my business partners. So he's our head of brewing operations, and then we also have another brewer, Mason. And so the two of those guys, they're doing they're doing all the brewing. So Mitch would be recipe development. He's going to pay our taxes when we need to do that. Just keep up with all of the planning and administrative things. And then they're co-brewing together and packaging and all of those sorts of things.
That's really awesome. So I know I laughed when I wrote this question just because I like fun stories. So how many failed beers have you brewed, and do you have any funny stories?
So as a home brewer, I probably dumped out three batches. And I brewed over And I brewed over 200. Now, that's not to say that the others were really good or anything like that, but the 3 that I did dump, they were pretty bad. So there was no, even though they had alcohol in them, they were not fit for anyone to drink or consume. So, yeah. I would say funny stories. Man, I would say one of the fun. I mean, it didn't happen to me, but it was at the brewery. So one of our employees was a home brewer, and so he decided to take one of our firkins, which is a keg basically that you can add ingredients in and sort of make special batches. It's like 10 gallons. It's called a firkin. Firkin, right? Yep. And so so he added like some blackberries and honey and some other things into this into firkin. Yeah. And so it ended up exploding basically. And so we have I think the ceilings in the brewery are around 21 feet high. And so this thing was probably about 4 feet off the ground. And literally it the hole inside, it's called the bung. It's probably about that big. And so it had a cap on it basically. And so there was fermentation going on inside. And so that's CO2 and alcohol. And so the fermentation had taken so much that it basically blew off the cap on this firkin and hit the ceiling with the liquid that was inside. Yeah. So it's still on the ceiling today. So if you come in and you want to see where the blueberry whatever is on the ceiling, then you can see it still.
Oh.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, so you have to know what you're doing, or you can have things blow up.
I think our neighbor had something. He was brewing something. I think he was trying to do gluten-free and it over fermented. It was a mess. Blueberry honey sounds amazing though. Do you think it would, because
I think it was blackberries and honey, yeah.
So it had too much honey?
Yeah, too much sugar.
Yeah.
Just sugar in general.
Yeah. You have to be careful.
Yeah, that's what the yeast eats the sugar, so yeah, it had too much sugar. Crazy.
Is there was there ever a beer that you really liked, but it just did not go well? And so it didn't do well at the 4-day Ray?
So there's a beer that we brew right now that we're going to brew until people like it. It's called Afterburner. Yeah. It's a smoked lager. We've actually won an award for it. It's a historical style. So it's oak smoked wheat, and it's very light. So it's a seasonal beer that we release in the fall. It goes really well with barbecue. It's not for everybody, but it's one of those beers that I enjoy it. Mitch enjoys it, and so we're just gonna keep brewing it until people like it.
Adam gave me the thumbs up that he liked it.
Oh, great. Cool. Yeah.
You've got one voter for it.
We see one drinker at a time. That's all it takes.
Right. What do you think what about it do you think people don't like about it, or
the word smoke? As soon as people see that, they're like, yeah, anything smoked.
So that's interesting because typically we go towards smoke. Like I love smoked anything.
Right. Yep. Well, people think of Rausch beer, or I think that's how you say it. Yeah, that stuff. Most of those are most examples are imported from Germany, and they taste like a campfire. They're really good to cook with, but man, I can't even drink some of those beers. Daredevil makes a really good Rausch beer, and then there's a brewery out of Chicago called Dovetail, and their Rausch beer is amazing. Yeah. So
yours is considered a Rausch beer?
It is not. No, though that's a specific kind of smoked beer.
Okay.
Ours, it's called Afterburner, and it's Grodzki is the name of the style. I don't expect anyone to remember that, but yeah, it's a historical style. It's oak smoked wheat is what we use, and so the color of the beer is like a straw color versus the Rauch beer is like kind of like, it looks kind of like an amber, kind of like the color of a dark iced tea is what it looks like.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's very, very aggressive as far as smoke goes, where the Grodzki, the one we brew, it has some in the aroma and there's a little bit of flavor, but the finish is very clean, and you're not left with a campfire in your mouth.
I'm okay with the campfire in my mouth.
Right. I mean, if you like smoked things, it would be okay.
This is the problem. I am that person that puts the marshmallow and like toast it a little bit, but then I'm like, burn. And then you pull out the burn part, you eat the burn part, and then you put it back in.
Yeah.
That's me.
I like my marshmallows that way too.
I'm that person. Whereas people are like, oh my gosh, just it tastes like char. I'm like, yes, that's what I'm going for. So you're telling me that if I could drink, that would be my beer.
You might like that beer, yes, if you like smoke.
I think I would like it a lot. So I don't feel like you've had, okay, so you haven't really, I don't feel like you've had many failures, like really bad beers.
I mean, you don't want to brew anything that's subpar, right? So,
Right.
I mean, we brewed a Belgian triple that we had to dump. We didn't even, it wasn't good. The yeast was, it was just past its prime. So, I mean, I think the reference point that you're making, I would say not everything that we make is good, but we haven't like made anything that, is like, we can't serve this, so we're going to dump it out. Does that make sense?
I'm getting a note from my husband that says the strawberry jalapeno was wild.
That one, that was my idea and creation. So, we won an award for that. That beer's not for everybody either, but I mean, it's actually good. I like that beer. I can drink one. Yeah.
Okay with that. So, okay, when do you brew some of them at home to see what they will be like, and then, or do you just now do them all at?
No, we can't. We don't have a pilot system, so we just let the dice roll and we go with it. So, Mitch has been doing this for 12 years now. Yeah, so we don't have a pilot system. I wish we did, because we could make some smaller batch stuff and see, and kind of play around a little bit more, because when we brew something, it's like 30 kegs. So we really have to be committed to it. If we want to make it. So that definitely, that I don't necessarily like that part of it necessarily, because we have to be very careful what we do, because trying to get rid of 30 kegs of something is definitely can be challenging depending on what it is. Like a smoked beer.
Like strawberry jalapeno.
Well, we don't have any problem selling that beer. It runs out every year.
Okay.
We sell that in a month.
So why don't you make more?
That's a seasonal beer, and there's kind of like with a beer like that, if it was on all the time, I mean, it would sit around, right? Okay. Because people, you have to keep some things that are seasonal and just on, just a limited time of the year, and then it gets people excited, and it's marketing, and plus you're not going to drink that beer year round. It's a summer type beer.
It is. It sounds like it is. I act like it. It is. Mm-hmm. Yep.
It is. Yeah.
So you're telling me that when you are sitting around and you're like, let's just throw some jalapenos and some strawberries in this beer, that you make 30 gallons of that? Like, you don't even test it? Like, you don't kegs, 30 gallons. Gotcha.
30 kegs. That's yes, that's correct. Yep. Yeah. And we have ways that we can, so for something like that, we could do like a flavor combination on a smaller scale. That's not necessarily like the whole batch. So we can see if the flavors are going to work out and then brew the entire thing. So if we did something like that, like where that's totally off in, creative land, we can put together flavors and just see if they're going to work out. and then we would go on a a larger batch. But for something like, we're going to brew a New England IPA here pretty soon, and there's really no way for us to. I mean, we're just going to brew it, and that's just going to be it. So, and we'll have 30. We'll have 25, 30 kegs of it.
Are those typically the juicy IPAs?
Are those I'm getting? I see this.
You can hear me.
Yes. The juicy IPAs.
Should have done this interview because he has all the questions. He's like showing me things.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate that.
You got it.
Gotta love it. Okay, so what is your favorite beer? And I know we're talking a lot about beer. So Adam actually was
That's great.
The questions. He was like, you should probably ask about the food too. What's your favorite drink and menu item?
So I have two favorite beers. So Air Raid, which is an ordinary bitter. We've won an award for that. It's a beer drinker's beer. So it's malty, goes really good with food. It's 5.2% alcohol, so it's lower in alcohol. And then generally we have a lager on. So right now we have a Helles. It's called Take the Day. Then we had Lantern Lager before that. And then we also have Ray's Lager in a can right now. Any of those are phenomenal and very good. So that's my go-to.
You said a lot of lagers. You like a lager?
I do. They're just, I think just enjoying a really well-brewed beer has sort of gone by the wayside, and everyone's drinking, cinnamon bun porter or Fruity Pebbles, double or triple IPA. And again, that's my personal preference, but it's brewing a really good lager is really difficult to do. And so it just kind of shows, how well the brewery is developed and, how good their brewing chops really are. Because you can throw cereal or pastries into anything and make it taste okay, but you can't cover up, flaws and things like that in a lager. So, that's my thing. So, yeah. I'll get off my soapbox now.
No, I love it. You could literally do the whole thing. Why are we throwing cereal or rolls in?
I don't know. There's actually they're called pastry beers. So they may or may not have actual pastries in them, but they're brewed to emulate waffles and whatever. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand it. I personally don't drink those types of beers. There are lots of people out there that love them. And, we brew things that I don't necessarily like Blood Orange Blonde. That is our #1 seller, and that beer is not for me. I came up with that beer, but it's just not for me. Yeah.
Okay, why?
I'm just not a fruited guy. I'm sorry?
Why don't you like it?
The fruit just gets in the way of the actual beer itself, personally, for me. That's why I like the lagers and the Air Raid, because it's just beer. There's no frills. It's just beer.
Okay. That's good to know. I really should have had Adam do this interview because I can't even yes, I like the flavor and the palate that it produces. And when I eat it with this food, it just really.
It's okay. It's just beer. We need to keep it simple.
Is it simple? Because it doesn't sound simple.
It really is. Yeah, it really is. It's like people can glaze over very quickly. And I've been in that conversation where I've just too much information, right? And you see the person and then they just sort of start nodding. And then, you've lost them. It's just, and then they just want to drink a beer, really, at the end of the whole thing. They just want a beer.
My brother-in-law, which I think I mentioned to you, Eric, who sharpens knives, he's very science-based. And so there are times I will tell you that he'll go into the science of the knife and the metal and kind of like what you would do with the beer. And I kind of go okay, Eric. But at the same time, he and you probably could sit down and talk literally for hours because he would have all the really creative questions about the hops and I'm trying to sound like I know beer and I don't. Hops and what else is in beer? Yeast.
Yeah, yeast. Water.
water. What is the ratio of wheat to water?
That really depends on what you're brewing. Too many details there.
Oh,
We're going to lose people. Yeah.
you
It just
are?
depends.
I think that's the interesting thing. So what's your favorite menu item? You said lager for beer. What's your favorite menu item?
Our aje poke tuna tacos are my favorite. Yeah.
Who came up with that?
That was our executive chef, Kyle.
Kyle is very good. You need to give him a raise.
He's good. Yep. He's awesome.
Do you know what bread you use for the gluten-free bread? Let me preface that. For the gluten-free bread.
We get that from Toscano. So
I don't know. Really good.
They're a bakery I think they're out of Chicago.
Thank you for not doing Udi's. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. All the restaurants around here do Udi's, and it's like cardboard.
I mean, I hear you can have a good gluten-free product, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Udi's. So I don't. Ours is not Udi's. I know that for sure.
Oh, I know it for sure too, because I wouldn't eat
because
it.
you can taste it, right?
Oh, 100%. The first time we went there, it was funny. Here's the thing. We don't eat out a ton, partially because I am gluten-free. So when we do, we're selective on where we go. And somebody was like, oh, well, but Forte Ray has a great gluten-free menu. So I was like, oh, they do? It's a gastropub, I probably, is it a gastropub? I just said that. It came out. Is it a gastropub?
Well, I use that term to describe it, but not a lot of people know what that means. So I try to not scare people away. But yes, that's how I would describe our food. Yes.
What is gastropub?
A gastropub is an establishment that serves elevated pub fare that's familiar to people, but done in an elevated way. Not that, it's all fancy and everything, but it's just like our kitchen is scratch. Like we make everything from scratch, except for, the gluten-free buns, obviously. But yeah, so there's an attention to detail paid to the food. We're not just pulling everything out of the freezer and making it like we're doing sauces and, all of that. So it's familiar things, but, we elevate them and make them, better.
Yeah.
That's a gastropub.
You're doing a really good job. So I was saying gastropub. So anyway, so we went and here's the thing, Brian, I'm flipping picky. So we order the burger, right? And I'm like, this is going to just be crap. It's going to be that Udi's stupid bread and I'm not going to like it, but Adam gets his beer and whatever. And it comes out and the kid's like, Mom, and I got something else. Cause again, I don't like to eat cardboard. My kids will. And so they're like, it's so good. So I had a bite and you had me at bread.
Wow. Nice.
So yeah.
I'll make that into a t-shirt.
You had bread? Yes. Yeah. Well, not GF bread, but yeah, because nobody does it. Like there's so many restaurants that are failing in that category. So I will give you an award for that category. That was a really good.
Thank you very much.
Really good category. So what would you say has kind of been or what would you attribute to the success of FDR or what sets it apart? Because you got one right across across 69. Sorry, I was going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You mean Sun King? You can say it. It's fine.
Sun King. I've been told that they're a bakery beer.
Pastry beer?
Pastry beer.
Yeah, I think they have I think it's like an apple something or other triple. I don't know. I mean, whatever. So I would say so we're Fisher's Brewery, right? I mean, we started in Fisher's without, besides myself, all three of my business partners live in Fisher's. So it's their community. We're very community focused. We try to give back to the community as much as we possibly can. We helped out the HSE summer meals program this summer for the school district. We do a lot. We try to keep the money within Fisher's as much as we can. and then we go out to Hamilton County, and then, from there. My daughter has Down syndrome, so just mental disabilities and, people with just different special abilities, that's a focus of ours. And so we have partners that we do, and then we partner with every month. So instead of doing Dine to Donate, which never works, I mean, if anyone ever asks you about it, and if they're like, oh, I have this great idea, like it doesn't work. I've been in restaurants for a long time, and the restaurant ends up giving the person like $50. And that's not going to be good for anybody. It's not good. And so we just decided, hey, look, we actually want to make a difference. And we want the person that we're partnering with, we want them to be able to market whatever it is that they're trying to promote themselves to the people that are coming into the restaurant. So what we do is every month, Tap for a Cause is our community thing that we do. So every Tuesday from 4 to 9, doesn't matter. You don't have to present a flyer. If you're there, like spending money, 5% of your tab goes to our partner for the month. And we do that every Tuesday of every month.
Oh,
And
wow.
that whole thing goes to the partner of the month.
Awesome.
And so for November, it's going to be Best Buddies. We just had Down Syndrome Indiana, in October. So I think, it was funny. Brooke and I were just talking about this, and I think people notice, and you wonder if they do. And I think, we've been open for 4 years now, and I think people do. And, it's just something that we feel really strongly about. And, we just want people to know that, hey, we're just, obviously we want to be a profitable business or we can't give back, but, we appreciate everyone's support, and, being able to have a platform to give back to the community in that way is amazing. And, it's really cool. And I think that's one of the things that sets us apart.
I love that. And I love that you are Fishers focused. You know what I mean? Like, and honestly, somewhat why I started the show, and I've had people say, okay, well, when are you going to branch out? It's so hard because I wanted it to be something that is Fishers. And I know I'll have to branch out at some point because I'll talk to most anybody that will want to get on my little show. But I love that. And I even remember before you opened, you were at, you had the truck that you would get stuff from, you know what I mean? Like, I remember it even back then, and we were like, what's this 4-Day Ray thing? Like, Adam enjoyed it. I thought it was a weird truck that was over there that everybody was standing at enjoying the beers. But I do remember it back. Gosh, that was
2015.
Yeah, 15?
Yeah.
Did you only do it for 1 year before you opened?
Yeah, we did that ahead of, so yeah, we were out at the concert series in 15 and then 16, and then we opened in October of 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I like that it does set you apart. I've been told that they are definitely different styles of beers, right? And so Sun King, that's what I'm talking about. The one across. Like, they're just different beers,
Oh,
and
yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah.
And they're downtown though.
Yeah, that's where their brewery headquarters are, downtown. They do have brewing equipment, and they do brew beer at their other locations. The one in Carmel does spirits, and then they've got brewing equipment, and they do brew at the Fishers location as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. Gotcha.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what future plans do you have for FDR? See, I should have just wrote out 4-Day Ray because I want to say 4-Day Ray instead of FDR, but anyways.
It's okay. It'll eventually be FDR, but we wanted people to know what it stands for before we got to the acronyms, because everybody shortens things. It's just easier.
Yeah. So the plan is for it to just be FDR.
Well, it's not necessarily the plan, but eventually it will just be there, and that's where it will be, and that's what people will refer to it as. Right. So we're okay with that, It's all right.
So are there any other plans to kind of open up other locations or do more beer trucks? I don't know. I'm stretching. Right.
So the distribution right now from the brewery side, we're expanding. That's kind of the silver lining, with all the Corona things going on and whatnot. People are drinking more at home, and not at restaurants and their favorite bars. So thankfully, we were positioned before all this happened. We already had cans placed in Kroger. We're going to be in Meijer, Target. So we're expanding our footprint in that regard. So, which is good. We're down in Bloomington. We have a distributor in Southern Indiana. We just picked up a distributor in July that allows us to go up to West Lafayette and Lafayette. So, all those things, those are expanding. And that's, we're definitely conservative and very careful of what we're doing. We don't want to overextend ourselves because we want the quality of the beer to still be there. We want to be able to take care of everybody that we're, fulfilling orders for. And we want to be able to make sure that we're, still the same, now, even when we get bigger. As far as like the restaurant and the food, we're working on concepts and, maybe taking some of the things off of our menu where we can create, like more just focused experiences. I would, it'd be tough to say that we would ever recreate, what we have there in Fishers because, it's extremely large and, you want to make sure that you're smart about future investments, but we definitely want to expand, but I think we're just trying to figure out what that looks like right now. And then obviously trying to let the dust settle on some of this stuff that's going on right now. And
are you only distributing the cans in Indiana? Like, have you broached into other states? Okay.
Yeah, we're only in Indiana right now. Yep, that's it. When we take a beer outside of the state, it'll be Blood Orange Blonde. It's a beer that even appeals to people that aren't necessarily craft beer people. So like 85% of people still just drink macro beer, Miller Coors, Bud. And so that beer, people enjoy that beer that are in those categories. So it's almost like, we don't have to compete for the 15% of craft drinkers. We can now like branch out of that and actually sell that beer to the other 85%, which, a lot of craft, I would say, still is not really focusing on the 85%, where there's a lot of opportunity trying to create beers for those, that category that people like and want to, repeat buy on. It's that beer has done that, which is great. We sell that beer in American Legions. It sells really well at a concert venue and, down at Lucas Oil. So, it's been great, and again, it's like, you just have to provide what people want and not necessarily what you like. Right. And so, it's okay if I don't like Blood Orange because it keeps our lights on.
Does your wife do that?
My wife does not drink beer.
Hey, she's like me.
Yeah. The only beer she does like, she'll drink a raspberry framboise, Lindemann's framboise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not something that I would drink, but it's very fruity and it's raspberry, and it's really red. We carry it at the restaurant.
I'm sure, because she said, I said for you to open a brewery, and now I need you to have a beer for me.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Is the Blood Orange, is it like for all of the co-owners, I guess, if that's what I want to call them, is it any of their favorites?
I don't think so. No.
That's so interesting. That's because I've been told it's a great beer. It is great.
It is. It's good. It is. It's good. Like, I'm proud to serve it.
Right.
I came up with the concept of it, so I'm proud to serve it. It's the way that we would do it. Right. But it's just not something that I would just grab and just drink it. That's okay. That's okay.
I'm going to relate it to the way that I could. It's like when somebody says they like wine, and I'm sorry to the company that I'm going to say, but then they like Oliver. I'm like, that's not wine. That's fruit juice. Sorry. That was really mean. But it's the difference of okay, wine, right? Versus I feel like you're a connoisseur beer drinker versus a fruity beer drinker. Is that a good comparison?
So you can have fruity beer that that's good.
Okay.
Or not that's not good. Like, so like if you had a sour beer or some other thing that has fruit in it, it
Right.
doesn't necessarily mean that I wouldn't like it.
Okay.
But like for a 4.8% beer,
Okay.
if I'm going to drink something that's lower in alcohol, I want it to taste like beer. And basically that's malt, hops, and water and yeast, not anything else added to it.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes. I tried to butcher it by saying that, and
Hey, that's quite all right. And I mean, look, Oliver does make some really nice wine. I mean, have you had their Gewürztraminer or?
do.
Okay. No. All right, that's cool.
It's well sweet. It's
No, they're not all sweet. They're not all sweet.
variety of a wine, right? I haven't had them in probably, I'll be honest, it's been probably 8 or 10 years. So they probably have had.
Yeah, they have a lot more. Yeah, so have you ever had a Treminette? I think that's what it is. It's kind of like a Riesling grape, but it's not sweet. It's native to Indiana. Man, somebody can correct me out there. It's a varietal native to Indiana, and it's similar to Riesling, but they don't brew it. They don't make it. It's not sweet at all.
Okay.
And then I can't remember the red one. There's another red varietal that's also. You should look this up. I think it starts with an M. Somebody out there can correct me on that one, or just fill in the blanks.
Kelly, here's the thing. Kelly is a wine drinker. I
Okay.
love Kelly because she will drink the crappy wine, but she'll drink the good wine too. So thank you, Kelly. They have a good dry wine. Apparently I need to try one. Oh, and
Treminette, there it is. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a red varietal that's really good, and it's native to Indiana as well, and it's very nice. I mean, it's not a Cabernet or whatever, but it's good.
Again, anybody can correct me. I just struggle when somebody says I use Indiana grapes. I was born in California. I was raised around California grapes. So the struggle is real. So many say they like wine, but they only drink Moscato. Yes. Sugar in a glass. Who is that? Kyle, I agree with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's no crappy wine. That's great.
See, so there
it has alcohol in it, right? Yeah.
You know what it is. Okay, I am getting the point from Adam, my crew behind me. Isn't it amazing that we need to do the giveaway? So, because here's the thing, Brian, I could probably talk to you for hours. That's the bad thing. So we probably should get to that.
Cool.
This is how it works for anybody that's still viewing and partaking in the fun shenanigans here. It's giveaway time. You have a chance to win a $50 gift certificate to 4-Day Ray. It's real simple. I ask a question, you answer it, and the first person who answers it correctly in the comments is the one who wins. Adam has been listening, and he came up with a question. So it's from what we've talked about. So it's from what Brian and I have been chatting about. If nobody answers, I have a feeling somebody will, because I have to admit we have a lot of 4-Day Ray fans that I was like, you have to get on because we all love 4-Day Ray. So I'm sure somebody will win. So the question is, why is 4-Day Ray a railroad term? Why is FDR a railroad term? Okay, while somebody answers that, I'm going to go on to the next question, which is, how can we support you? Where can people find you? All of that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a great question. So, the beer is available at grocery stores, liquor stores around Hamilton County, Marion County, and we're growing that footprint. So, pick up our beer at your local grocer or your favorite liquor store. Obviously, dine in, and if there's a partner that you feel strongly about, check out who we're partnering with, and come in and dine with us on Tuesdays, because you're not only supporting us, but you're supporting the community. And, whatever happens with, over the next like 4 or 5 months, just keep us, in your thoughts as far as, where you're choosing to do takeout if we get shut down again, or, whatever that might be. And we just appreciate, everybody supporting us through, everything that's happened up to this point with it. And, we just want to continue to be a community partner and be here for the long haul for everybody. So, yeah.
Question, because I don't know if I know this. Do you have to book? I know you can make a reservation for the restaurant for the eat-in, but what about the tap room? We've never, funny enough, for as many times as we've never been in the tap room.
I've been there many times.
Oh, sorry.
You just
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So the tap room is first come, first serve, and then you can make a reservation for the main dining seating.
But kids aren't allowed in there.
In the tap room, no, that is 21 and older. Yeah.
Okay. When you do events, because Adam was in the middle of something, and I go, we have to do an event at FDR. What does that look like if somebody wants to have an event?
So we have an events coordinator, and so you would get in contact with them. We have a spot on our website. You can fill out the information, how many people, when you're looking to do it, what type of event it is. And then, we just reach out and contact and just get the details and figure out if it's something that we can do.
Okay.
Obviously, with where things are at right now, the capacity is limited and different things like that. So, it's just important to give us a call so that we can help work through those plans.
Okay. I just was thinking, because we had done it at a movie theater for our clients, and I thought, well, that movie theater's shut down.
Mm-hmm.
So now I got to try to figure it out. And I don't know if the new owners will do the same thing. So, okay, I think we have a winner, but I'm going to let you pick.
Oh, great.
We have two answers that came in kind of at the same time. The first one I think could be the answer, but so you have Aaron, who said for a 3-day weekend or a call-in worker. Because I don't know.
I'd say it's probably a call-in worker is where it originated from. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Then it is a call-in worker, Miss Kelly, which she will be very excited. Jason, her husband, is a local police officer, so I love that it's keeping it in the family. So nice. I appreciate that. That's why, because I felt like, yes, the first one was the right answer, but at the same time, it's not just the week, so that's why I left it to you. So I'm glad. Cool. Okay, so I posted on there for anybody that's viewing. You can go to their website. On it, obviously, when everything was shut down, I have to admit, one of the things that we really tried to do is we ordered beers and then just came and picked them up. And we didn't order food sometimes, because not always eating out, but like we have a case of beer. I think Adam and his brother, I don't know how many cases. Just a few. We're just going to say a few. It was just easy, and they're so good.
Thank you.
I can't even say that I think they're good. On Instagram, you're 4-Day Ray. Yep. I tried to find you on Instagram. I couldn't find you on Instagram. So just 4-Day.
I told you I'm old. It's just, it doesn't keep my attention. Let's just put it that way.
That's awesome. I love that. Kelly says yay. She is our wine drinker. She always comes up with Orange Blonde. See, another Orange Blonde fan.
I know, it's great.
He's
going to try the smoke beer. Nice.
It'll be interesting to see, because now I feel like I want to not try some of them, because I can't, but I want to hear what he thinks. Because there was one that he said that he didn't know of. What was the one that you didn't know about? I don't remember. See,
I don't know what you're trying to
neither of us remember. That's okay. And since it's 8:30, I'm going to ask the last question of the night, which is, who do you? I got to grab a piece of paper. Who do you recommend that we interview, or you think would be a fun interview?
Wow. I think I missed that question, and I was not prepared for that. I don't know if they're a Fishers resident, but they are on the HSE. They're a staff member,
Okay.
and I don't even know her name, but I really appreciated. I saw she did an article in one of the Fishers publications,
Okay.
and her title is something like, it's has something to do with like integrating like races and like equality, and I mean, I'm butchering this totally, but I think that would be a very good interview. And just the title of the article and everything that she was talking about, it was great. And basically, kind of the premise of the whole thing was, hey, if we're going to change things, just having a different color thumbs up emoji on your social media is not going to cut it. And it was very well done. So
Okay.
yeah.
I'll try to find her, or if anybody.
You know what? I still have the article. I'll find it for you. And I think it's something like inclusion or something like that. Like it was a really interesting title, and she's in the school district. So I'll find it for you and I'll send it to you. Somebody might have it, but
Anybody else?
that's all I have right now. Sorry.
That's hilarious. I think that's hilarious. I didn't see that question.
Yeah,
Well, I'm just going to peg you for giving me somebody else. Adam has a bonus question that he's apparently thrown up on the screen. When does the Snow Shed Winter Ale come out this winter?
For me?
Yes.
Are you asking me? Oh, so it will be available on Saturday.
Oh.
Saturday.
He went like this.
Saturday, yes. 6-packs and draft are available on Saturday.
Oh, he just went like that.
Are you guys Mug Club members?
What's that?
Oh my goodness.
Oh no, oh snap.
If you were a Mug Club member, you would already be able to get it.
What is that?
The Mug Club, so it's an annual membership, and you get a special mug. I don't have one right now. I can't show it to you. But you get a special mug, and it's 22 ounces or give or take. And so you get that filled every time you come in, and when you bring it in, you get that filled for the price of a pint, which is 16 ounces. So there's that. And then you get special access to releases. So like Snow Shed, whenever new beers come out, you get access to those earlier than anybody else. Those kinds of benefits.
Is there any secret that you'd like to divulge to our wonderful group of anything new that hasn't been told yet?
So we're releasing 2 beers. They're called Pirate beers, and those will be out probably in the next like 3 to 4 weeks. Pineapple Pirate and Peach Pirate.
Okay, that really makes me want to drink.
And those are both barrel-aged beers. The Pineapple Pirate is aged in rum barrels, and the Peach Pirate is aged in bourbon barrels.
Oh, snap.
Oh, snap. Did you hear that?
I did.
He's a bourbon drinker. Any chance I can get a sample of that?
I mean, if you catch me, in the brewery, I might be able to get you a barrel sample.
Peach. Oh, barrel. Okay, so when I hear barrel sample, that usually that means better, right?
Well, it's right out of the barrel.
Right. That's what when he talks about like Maker's Mark or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
When you get the barrel,
yep,
that's the really good stuff. Oh my God, Brian.
It's not quite the same because you've got, that's the barrel strength right there, right? But it's still out of the barrel, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Brian, this has been a pleasure. Somebody made a comment. I'm gonna go over to the comment and see what it is. Can Adam fill his mug? Yes. Look, everybody wants to try. Can I try it too? We're just gonna have to get together. The Peasleys and I are just gonna come. We're gonna get the $50 gift certificate, and we're just gonna become Mug Club. Here's what I will tell you. We've been there many times, and I don't think I've ever heard a server
It's usually like it's like on the table. Like
I know, but we need to train those servers to say.
So yeah, the subscription for next year is coming up, so it might be a good Christmas gift.
Oh, I see. Oh, that was a good plug. Okay, we're way past the time.
Okay.
Brian, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Next week we are interviewing Cecily Wolf, who owns Sweet Pea Flower Farm. It's going to be again at 7:30. She actually has flowers that she has at Fisher's, but then I'm really excited because she's going to decorate like people's houses. Like she will come and decorate for like the holidays and stuff with flowers and all sorts of stuff. So I'm really excited about having her on next week. If you have any questions or anything for Brian, feel free to keep tagging or putting questions in. I can always get them to him. But thank you for watching, everybody. And you guys all have a great night.
Thanks.
Bye.